The doctor is in. We are just weeks away from kids heading back to school, and some are feeling anxious after what life looked like during the pandemic last year. Joining us now with tips for parents is psychiatrist Dr. Carole Lieberman. Welcome to Bloom, doctor.
Thank you so much.
Well, I know my two that are heading back to class are, a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, especially after last year when they were quarantined and then school was on again, off again, masks, no masks. So how do we help our children during this time?
Well, the first thing that parents can do is to talk with their kids and encourage them to express their feelings. For example, you can give, especially for younger kids, you can give them crayons and paper and ask them to draw what they think it's going to be like on the first day of school, even for older kids. Kids won't usually tell parents, won't walk up to a parent and say, I'm feeling nervous about such and such. A lot of times they can't put their feelings into words. So what parents should look for, there are 5 main things that parents should look for. First of all, separation anxiety, then depression, germophobia, agoraphobia, and aggression. And I'll be happy to explain any of these further.
I think probably agoraphobia is the one that stands out the most, that you don't hear that often. What exactly is that?
Agoraphobia literally means fear of the marketplace, but it also means fear of crowds. And so when kids go back to school after they've been isolated in lockdown for most of the time prior to that, and they haven't been in crowds of any kind really, or certainly not much, then they go into school. And they're so excited to see their friends, and they want to hug their friends for that matter. And at the same time, though, there's this feeling of claustrophobia. There's this feeling of all of a sudden they're surrounded and they feel afraid to be swallowed up in the classroom, in the halls, and so on. So it's a very, complex sort of tension in them. Do I go close? Do I go far? What is going on with all these kids around me?
And then the other one that you also mentioned that I want to talk more about, because a lot of here in Florida, you could either learn online or go to the brick and mortar. It was optional. And for my children's friends who's had to stay home, they really started to feel lonely and depressed. How can we help those kids?
Yes, the pandemic, the lockdown has really caused a lot of depression and a lot of suicidal ideas, suicidal thoughts, and actual suicide, especially in kids. And what we can do is, first of all, to get them to understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, even though it may be hard for them to see it. I mean, one light is the fact that kids are being allowed to go back to school altogether. Of course, the problem is that there's so much uncertainty, even right now. What's going to be happening? Is it a risk to send them back to school? Do they have to wear masks, not wear masks? One of the things that I'm really concerned about is in some schools, they're saying that most kids are unvaccinated, and they're saying, especially, less than 12, but they're saying in some schools, they're saying that kids, just the unvaccinated kids have to wear masks. Now, clearly that is a situation that is very psychologically dangerous, because the other kids are going to bully the kids who aren't wearing masks. Or in some schools, it could be vice versa. So there are a lot of things, we're going to have to handle a lot of things once the kids go back. But the main thing is making sure that kids talk to you, feel every day, talk to them about what it was like and so on. And also you can do things like giving them a picture of the family to take to school. These are called transitional objects, or a small stuffed animal that the child thinks of you with, that you gave it to the child. So that's like carrying a piece of you. Those are some of the things that parents can do.
We don't have too much time left, but I did want to touch on germophobia, because that's a big one.
Yes. Kids have been exposed for this whole year to the media, talking about germs and talking about how you have to wash your hands and all of that. Kids normally love to play in dirt. They don't think anything of dirt. In fact, they love to play in mud puddles and so on. But now they've been told dirt is bad. And so they're going to be very scared to be touching desks and pencils and anything in the classroom. And if they do go on to the playground at recess, then the balls, are they going to be allowed to touch balls, and how dangerous is that? So you don't want to make your child obsessive compulsive. You know, you don't want to make them so scared of that. Really, if you just wash your hands a lot, you don't touch your face with your hands, and follow all the other rules that your particular school has, it's really okay.
Well, doctor, this has been so informative. Thank you so much for all these helpful tips for parents. I know I'll be using them myself personally. Thank you.
Thank you.